Our next speaker is well, probably in his background, my favorite thing about him was he was president of the North Oakland Republican Club. That was his first toe in the water of politics. And then he became a county commissioner, and then a state representative, and now a state senator. I'd like to bring up my good friend and former NORC president, Jim Runestad. Now, Jim just recently had some serious surgery done, so he's walking gingerly. But hey, what is going on in the state with all these laws going through the legislature that's going to threaten our election integrity? I hear it passed the Senate, and what can
everything passes. No matter how bad it is, no matter how disastrous, no matter how illegal, no matter how
yeah, and you're going to have to talk close. This thing isn't picking up very well. So.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Jim.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. As Mike said,
you have to touch the microphone with your face, really.
Okay, I'm willing to do that. How's that?
There you go.
Is it good?
Or better.
Okay. Yeah, I just had hip surgery, so I'm a little gimping around, but for probably another 2 weeks, it should be back to normal. But I want to say in my now going on close to 10 years in the legislature, mainly in the Senate, Ruth Johnson has been somebody that without her, I don't know what I would have done. A lot of it, I hate to say it, but Democrats, but also Republicans, some of the crap that Ruth and I had to fight over the years was just unbelievable. And really proud also to have got my start at the North Oakland Republican Club and being able to be the liaison and kind of when I can let them know what's going on is helpful. When I get to talking, most people say, well, Jim, that was pretty damn depressing. And so what I want to do is make sure you don't leave with that. And that is my district director. And I've told her everywhere she goes, including here, trying to find out people who are what's called influencers. And those are people who have, say, a list of people that they work with, emails or social media or text or whatever, that we can communicate. And we have won battles by getting that message out to people and say, let everybody know what's going on. And I'll talk about one of those in just a minute. But if you're in that category and you haven't talked to me before, get me your card or something so we can put you on that list so that you're not impotent. You're not like, hell, this is depressing and there's no damn thing we can do. There is. And that is get involved, get people informed when things are coming up. As much as possible, I've shot videos about things that are coming up and we send it out to the influencers. A bill that's coming up, you need to call your legislator. Here's what this bill does. There's like a minute and a half at the most, so we go through these pretty quick, but you'll know what's going on and can get that message out. So again, if you're in that category, let me know. And it's now to the depressing part. It's very frustrating because we're in the minority. And that's why it's very, very important to keep that majority. We've got the House races coming up and we need just 2 seats flipped and we are in the majority. So it's worth our time to work to get that majority back, because just one of the bills that they passed was a package of bills. You might have heard of it, 603 or 604. I gave a outraged speech on the floor that had around 14 million views. Specifically on this. The RNC had heard about this in Washington, D.C. And that's the kind of impact that you can make if you're getting the message out. And so what this wonderful bill does is currently the Board of Canvassers, like Senator Johnson said, there's 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats in all the counties, and then there's a state Board of Canvassers, again, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. If they see something that is apparently illegal, or people bring them fraud, that they can take a look at and go, holy moly, this is absolutely fraudulent. And as Ruth Johnson said, there's always going to be some level of fraud. They can, by a majority vote of those Board of Canvassers, say we want to do an investigation. In that investigation, they have subpoena power. They could, because an investigation without a subpoena power, you got to bring the people, there's a lot of these scumbags well, I'm not going to, I don't think we know anything here. No, here's the subpoena, buddy, coming in. You're going to start testifying under oath. So it's a very powerful ability, and it's bipartisan. And as Senator Johnson said, they eliminated it. They said, we don't need that. We don't need the board of canvassers to have that kind of power. So they got rid of that, along with a bunch of other things. He said that if you, let's say you are a poll watcher challenger and you're there to observe the election and make sure there's no fraud going on, and you ask a question, well, they said that if you interfere with the process, you committed a felony. Well, what does that mean? Whatever we want. There's no definition. If you're standing there and they're bringing a box through and you're like trying to go this way and they're trying to go, did you just interfere with the process and you're charged with a felony? You don't know, because there's no definition. This is the kind of garbage that they pass. Ruth and I have been dealing with it nonstop. In the Soviet Union, I just finished a whole book on the Soviet Union, and Beria was the chief KGB torturer. That was his job. He tortured people. And his favorite phrase, as you probably have heard through history, is, show me the man and I'll show you the crime. They don't need to have a specific crime. Show me the guy and I'll find a crime, because it would write the laws open-ended. That's what the Democrats are doing. That's just another one of the provisions. Another thing that they put in there is they about quadrupled the cost to do a recount. They don't want a recount. So now, if you're going to do, it was about $250 a precinct. Now they made that 500, but 500 on election day, 500 on absentee, and 500 on early voting. Now $1,500 per precinct. Could you imagine doing that statewide? Millions of dollars. That's why they did it. Every single thing the Democrats are doing, every single solitary thing they are doing is to commit fraud. Yes, and put it on tape, and I'll be happy to talk to them about that, talk to the media about that, to commit fraud. Everything they're doing is to commit fraud. They just passed through a bill this week. This gigantic package is supposed to mirror the Voting Rights Act on the federal level. Even there, on the federal level, they pulled back some of the provisions because these were written back in the 60s, and they thought that a lot has changed, so they rewrote. They said, oh, this is terrible. They've weakened some of the provisions of the Voting Rights Act. So they supposedly rewrote them with a pile of crap and garbage in there. We now have to hire all of these interpreters. So here in Clarkston or Waterford, you have to have interpreters that are in Swahili and Venezuelan and Spanish and who knows how many. Again, this is to make it so untenable for the local clerk. If the local clerk has something in the process that they say you advantage one group or some racial, ethnic, whatever kind of group they want to say against another racial, ethnic minority, if there's any kind of provision in there that negatively impacts you, the clerk, are liable. The purpose of this is to get rid of the local clerks, like Ruth was saying. We have the most number of clerks in the nation here. They want to get rid of them and put it at the county with Brown or up there with Benson on the state. That's the purpose. Again, every single thing they're doing is to cheat in the elections. That is all the Democrats do. It's bill after bill after bill. We will put in amendments to try to reasonable things like, what is a felony? No. We're not going to tell you. Why are you quadrupling the cost of a recount? No, you don't need to know. We want every single thing. So it's constant, continuous. Our Secretary of State has been overturned probably more than any other Secretary of State. I believe it's 8 times now she has been overturned. She said you can't have a weapon if you're open carrying. That's illegal. She said that I debated her. I was going to hope to play that video because I debated her when she was running for office, and she said, Jim, we don't need a voter ID. We have something more important. It's absolutely fabulous. It is the signature. The signature is the vital thing to make sure that we have fair elections free of cheating. And then what is one of the first things she did? Told the clerks, don't look at the signatures, just accept them all. And she mass mailed out what was almost 8 million of these, which is totally illegal. You're supposed to request the ballot application. She mass mailed those out. Well, I was talking to people getting 30 and 40 of these ballot applications at an apartment where they get transit population, people are coming and going. If you just pick those up, sign any old name you want, send them in, they're going to send you back 30, 40 ballot applications because they're not checking the signature and then just vote them. Everything that she does is to cheat. 106% of the population. How is in God's name is that not adjudicated and found to be illegal? And the reason it's not is a complete partisan Supreme Court that does not give a rat's ass about the law. Every single thing in their mind is the same thing as we're finding with Benson and Nessel and Whitmer is we don't care. We don't care if we turn it into the Soviet Union. We don't care if all the rights are gone. We want power and control. Everything I see from the Democrats in the legislature, from their positions on statewide power in the courts, we want power and control. It's so devastating, and I hate to deliver this terrible message, but we got to keep fighting and fighting. It's our kids. It's our grandkids. We cannot stop. And just a success story. I don't want to run out of time. How am I doing on the time? 2 minutes. Okay. A success story is when I shot that video, that went viral, and they heard about it in Washington, D.C., and then Patrice Johnson, who you'll be hearing from shortly, and a number of others of us got on a phone call, and we got on with the RNC, the Republican Party lawyers, and I was very, very impressed. In fact, I've been very impressed with the Republican Party lawyers. Normally, my experience with RNC is they're worthless. They're not worth a thing, usually state party and even county party. I'm impressed with some of the things that are going on. In RNC, they got on that call, and they listened. That's shocking for RNC. They actually were listening to boots on the ground people who are experiencing what's going on. And we explained all this. And we said what they're going to do is they have passed this bill, but the bill won't be effective until next year. And they have said, fortunately, a PBS reporter looked through what's called JCAR, the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules. He read the entire massive report. Normally, you wait a certain period of time and all these rules just go through, and it's like dozens and dozens. He found this one on elections. He read through it, and he put together an article. I found the article. I go, what the hell is this? They want to codify the rules of a bill that isn't effective till next year, which is totally illegal. A department can only say, all right, here's the law that the legislature passed, and we need some implementary rules that go along that weren't addressed by the legislature. You can't rewrite you can't rewrite one provision of the law. You just write some implementation. They want to take all the provisions of a bill that was passed not till next year and implement them this year. And I was checking, I'm on JCAR, so I thought, well, they're not going to be able to get away with this because there's a wait period. They even have said, the department, we're going to get rid of the wait period. We're going to get rid of the wait period, and we're going to implement rules to a law that does not exist. It is categorically illegal. There's not one person in the state of Michigan, no lawyer that would disagree. No Democrat would disagree. No one would disagree. It's illegal, but they were going to do it anyway. The RNC, thank God, they got on this call and they said, they looked it over and said, oh no, they called it a rifle shot. This is a rifle shot. This isn't like, is this illegal and can we do something? They put together a beautiful letter they sent to the Department of Elections. They said, we will sue you. We're going to be there to sue you the minute you pass this. And lo and behold, they still haven't done it. I don't think they're going to do it. They finally got caught. They're going to be caught with the media. They're going to be caught with all of you. They're going to be caught in every way if they pass this illegal bill. So there is victories. There can be a way of doing it. And part of that is you staying involved. Thank you so much.
Jim Runestad. Thank you so much, Jim.